Okay, so my camera. Okay, my camera had an issue, so I had to restart. But now I've got pressure in my compressor now. How you set this guy up is you simply attach your spark plug. I don't know if I mentioned this. You attach your hose into your spark plug hole with your valves closed. You attach your air compressor supply to your tool. And Jason, tell me if you can see the two gauges here.
Yeah, a little bit closer.
A little closer?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you rotate your regulator until your needle is set to 0. And that's how you zero out this gauge. So now when you attach your hose on your cylinder to this guy, your needle is going to move somewhere on this gauge, and that tells you where your leakage is. So, go ahead and connect it. Set it up here. Alright, so I'm going to be stealing this. This is going to be kind of weird, but bear with me. Can you grab me that spray, the degreaser down there? Okay, so as you can see, focus, 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 focus. No focus. Okay, well I have a little over 10% leakage in cylinder 1. That can come from the rings, and how you check that actually is you listen. I have a stethoscope because my valve cover's off. I would use a stethoscope and stick it down one of the oil ports in the head and see if I can hear air blowing by it. If I can, that means air is in the crankcase chamber, which means that my rings are worn. However, I did this for the cylinder already, and that is not the case. It is not coming from there. The next spot that it could be is your cooling system. I would stick, let me see, which side of the block is it? I would stick my stethoscope through any coolant port on the engine, preferably one closer to the cylinder you're checking, and see if you can hear air. Again, I didn't for this case, so I was still having to find out where my issue is. The other two places your issue could be is your valves also seal off your chamber. Grab my light from my toolbox. Actually, grab that big red one. Turn that on. And can you shine it into this valve hole here? Okay. Can you shine it to where you can see the head of the valve? So point it up a little bit. See it right there. Right there. Okay. Now, I don't know how well you guys will be able to see this. I'm gonna try to zoom you in on it some. If this thing will focus, which it's not. Get the light back on the valve. On the actual valve head there, right there. Okay. And watch this when I spray. Oh god, I know this isn't focusing, but if you'll bear with me. When I spray some degreaser or some soapy type fluid, even just water, you see those bubbles? That means air's coming out from the valves, which means that the valves aren't sealing up against the seats. It's happening on the what side is this? On the intake side as well. This is the exhaust side. When I took the cylinder head off the first time for cylinder 2, I lapped those valves and got my leakage to under 5%. So I did also do the other valves, but I wasn't nearly as thorough. It looks like I'm gonna have to take it off and do again. I will be showing you how to do that as well. But this means that if you're going to buy a JDM engine, if I saw this one at a let me go ahead and stick this back on. If I saw this happen at some JDM store or wherever I was, junkyard or wherever I was trying to buy an engine from, then at the very least, I'm going to have to take the cylinder head off, relap the valves, or maybe even, depending on the condition of them, I may have to send it to a machine shop to either insert new valves or have them grind down the seats and the valves before I put it back together. Now, like I said, I did this already with cylinder 2, so I know just a simple lapping will fix the problem. So I'll be showing you how to do that, but you would repeat this process again for every cylinder, again making sure if you have your cams in, you turn your cams away, otherwise you'd be falsely diagnosing bad cylinders for no reason. But yeah, this is, I think this is a $200 and something tool, if I'm not mistaken, from Matco. You don't need anything this specific if you're just giving a quick check. Harbor Freight sells them for really cheap. I don't know the exact price. I think it's like $30 or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But it gives, the Harbor Freight ones, even if they're not 100% accurate, will give you an idea of what you're looking at. So, very great tool, better than compression testers. Oh, with an engine like this, obviously, I can't check compression because there's no way for me to crank the engine fast enough to build compression. One workaround to that is that you can bolt a starter up to the engine and hook it up to a battery, and it's just like bench testing a starter, except when you bench test it, it's going to crank over the engine. This specific engine, the starter bolts to the transmission, and then it goes through to the engine. So in order to do that, I would have to measure the width of the transmission casing and then put a shim on this motor to attach the starter to, but too much work. This thing makes it a lot easier. Ain't gonna do that, and this thing tests more stuff. So that's how you do that.
Your head's kind of cut out.
Yeah. I'm probably going to record another segment, but that I can do on my own. It's not going to be working or tools. It's just going to be, if this is your problem, then you do this, or, I'm not going to go into anything specific on it. So that one you guys don't necessarily need to be there for. But now, I don't know if I should record the rest of it, because now I'm just going to go into tearing down the motor. So I'm explaining the parts as I go. I'm not going to be making a how stuff works type thing. I'm just going to be making a, this is how you diagnose this if this were the issue. Oh, pause.